Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Do you know what the human was built for? Do you know why you exist? Regardless of whether you believe this message is accurate or true, do you know why you exist? You exist in order to amplify the creative source in you. To capture all that is God in you and more. That's why you exist. You don't exist to climb stairs or suffer or go through all kinds of things to be worthy. You are part of God. There's no worthiness issue. Not in the eyes of Spirit. Dear ones, for you, many of you, it's the first time. My partner's never sat in this country. He's never felt the energy that is here. He's never felt the light workers that are in the room before. It's just the first time. But it's home. It's always home. There are many who hear this voice, and as I have said over and over, there is a question. Is it real? Is it the man in the chair just giving a lecture? And I'm going to say it again and again and again. There's a logic box that you live in, that you were born in, that will tell you that this particular process is not happening. That's because you were born into a survival mode, even spiritually. You had to be told what to do, how to do it, and wrap yourself around the rules of doing it. You grow up with a perception of what is accurate and not accurate, and that sticks, no matter what. There's energy right here, right now, that some of you can feel. I'm so aware of where we are. I'm so aware of everyone who sits in the chair in this great country. There's a newness here. There's an excitement here. There are old souls that are really ready to go here and who have taken what we call the gauntlet since 2012. The gauntlet, meaning a word we use. They have chosen to accept the challenge of change. Is it real or is it not? I'm going to say it again. Are you going to go with what others have told you? Or are you going to use discernment right now for yourself? Is it possible that my partner has stepped aside? He's even told you where he goes and what happens. This is the voice of my partner, using his intellect, his brain, his body, his voice, in order to give you a message from the other side of the veil that says you are known by God, you are dearly loved, you're in the middle of a great shift. And it's no mistake that you're here. We invite you to feel and discern if this is accurate or not. We throw this to you and say, are you going to stay in the box that you were told is the truth, or are you going to discern the truth for yourself? And if you can just for a moment pry open that box and start discerning. I would tell you, it is so safe to feel the love of God in a different way than you ever have. And you may say, well, I believe in something slightly different. I've got a beautiful prophet that I love, and I want to tell you this. This will not take away from that. God gets bigger. Love gets bigger. Compassion will fill your life like it never has before. And everything that you're doing now will just get grander. We're not trying to talk you into changing into another belief system. We just want you to sense God inside. That's all. And when you do, there will be an awakening and you'll know what to do next. You'll start understanding you are empowered, greatly empowered. How many of you are here? Don't raise your hand for a healing today. Well, I want to tell you it's a good time. It's a real good time. Because part of God inside discovery is for you to grasp the healing template that has been dormant all these years and ready to be activated by your belief in the change of energy on this planet. Things are shifting and changing. It's a good time this weekend to claim a healing you came for and needed. Some of you need a healing of the heart. I know who's here. I know who's here. You might wake up every morning and feel the pain of either loss or distrust. You don't need to anymore. It's just not needed. You can feel instead the peace around the situation right now that makes you sorrowful. There are those right now, and I know who's here, who have recently lost those you've loved. I know who's here. I want to tell you, they are here. Can you believe that the soul is eternal? That's what all the masters have told you. It is. Where does it go when it leaves this planet? I want you to forget what you've been told for a moment and use spiritual logic. If the soul is eternal and it was in your body, why does it have to leave and be unattainable, unavailable? It doesn't. It stays. Part of it stays. Part of it remains for one reason. One reason. To give you peace over the loss. Did you know that? They're still here. They're still here. There is so much that we would love to speak of that is beyond the physics that you know, but is part of a grander physics that is there. Multi-dimensional quantum physics is the way the universe runs. Three-dimensional physics is the way you run, because you just haven't discovered the rest yet. And part of it explains so many things that you think are mysterious or magic or not true. Are you feeling it yet? Are you feeling it yet? That this could be accurate and true? That the love of God is far bigger than anything you have ever been told? And it lays right here in this room, ready to meet you in a way you never, ever have allowed before. I am Kryon, messenger. That's all. I don't have a work for you to join. I have information for you to feel. Truth. That God is in every single human being and can be accessed to improve your life. This is the energy that was predicted for that exact thing. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Each time that my partner brings me to this place, in this, which is a place where many observe, it's different. This is a healing program, and yet it's also a platform to discuss so much that is magnificent about the human being. And so you're going to hear a various array, you might say, of subjects, but they're all going to center on you. We've spoken about the times that you're in, and that will play into this channel a little bit. Because you wonder, is all of this random? This being your existence here, the systems that put you here, past lives, if you believe that. And coming to this planet at this time to experience this, there are many who would say, well, it's too bad I had to be this time, without understanding. This is an appointment you made. You wouldn't have had it any other way. It brings up the whole question of how much control you have over what happens to you. And I don't mean here, because we have discussed that many times, dear ones. We've discussed a reality that you have that is indeed one that you choose, one that you direct. We have told you many, many times that how your consciousness sees the world is how the world becomes for you. This is very difficult for many who say, I see. You mean that I'm not going to step out and have the chance of being run over by a truck like everyone else? And the answer is, you're right, you won't, because your consciousness won't put you in that situation. We have discussed that very thing. Can consciousness field those kinds of issues? And the answer is yes. And we say field those kinds of issues because you are dealing with something called the field. Fielding something means to work with it. You work with the reality so you be in the right place at the right time. Your consciousness, if it's high enough, will direct you there. This is you controlling your own reality, but it's far, far greater than that. That's while you're here. Are there systems, you might ask, that would put you in other places where you have a say about esoteric things? Now, what would those things be, you might ask? And the answer is everything. How esoteric would you like to get? Well, seeing as though you're listening to channeling, you're already there. The first belief systems on this planet, long time ago, started understanding a staple of existence for you and your soul. And that is that you come and go and come and go and come and go. The soul that you have is eternal, but many of your belief systems today that are supposed to be modern have decided that that soul is somehow linear. It shows up when you're born, and it goes somewhere else when you die, and it goes from A to B, and that's it. Not understanding that that soul of yours has no beginning, it has no end. Because you see, the soul is part of that which is the creative source. It's part of God. So in that, there is a system, and that system is past lives and future lives. The system is, if you wish to call it, reincarnation, where your soul reincarnates over and over again. This was the intuition of the first systems on the planet. And even this day, right now, more believe in that system than not. So it's not something that belongs to a few. But let's ask the question, if you believe in these things, what is the system? And in that, how much do you have to say about it? Now, if you buy into what many tell you, you don't have anything to do with it. It's like the king on high directs it. And that, dear one, is linear. It comes from you in a human family. That's what your father would do, or a king would do. That's what government would do. And that's often how you see God. That's not how it works at all. You've heard of collective consciousness. It's more than that. When you're on the other side of the veil, dear ones, you are connected to all that is. Are you understanding that? You may understand the verbiage, but you can't really truly understand it, because that is a connection that is not for you here. You are part of all that is when you're not here. And therefore, there is no committee meeting to decide if you're coming back, when you're coming back, what gender you will be, what you're going to do, who you'll be with, what culture you'll be in, all of these things. There's no committee to decide that. There's no instructions that come down in a book to help you decide that. I've described this many times to you, and yet I want to tell you again. This is more magnificent than you think. It's you, with that which is all the other entities, making instant decisions. If you even want to call them decisions, it's a knowingness of how you will come back, who you will be. We've told you many times that the system of reincarnation is one that honors the human. And that means you often come back in the same culture and the same language, even often the same gender, for many years before there's ever a change. This honors you, for that means that you awaken with an Akash that you recognize. The language is recognizable, the culture is recognizable. And as you grow up with certain parents, you're having the same experiences you've had over and over, and it's comfortable, and you fall into a pattern. The entire reason for reincarnation is learning. You might say it is a school of consciousness that creates an old soul. And with many, many lifetimes, no matter what you've done, no matter where you've been, what happens at the end of that is maturity. And with free choice, you either awaken or not to a grander truth. Welcome to the grander truth. But I want to tell you more about what's happening there. You're part of it there. I want you to understand just how much is involved in this that you have something to say about. Oh, I know what you're going to tell me, Kryon. You're going to tell me that I selected my parents, and you're going to tell me that I selected all the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you, Kryon, there is no way I would have chosen those people. You see, I've been here before, and I've heard you, human being, because you don't understand. You don't understand the system. The system is not about personalities. It's about energy and love and compassion and learning. You will stand there at the wind of birth, seemingly with millions of other souls making decisions at the same time, and you will look and see and understand you're going to come down to this planet and be born perhaps of difficult parents in dysfunctional families. And the entire reason is because you're going to be the only old soul. And as you start to grow up, you'll have an awakening of knowingness, and they won't have not a clue. You understand where this is going? You become their teacher. How do you like it so far? This is what many of you have chosen, and you have to do this, because that is the compassionate way of God. When I say you have to do it, I mean there is no other choice. That is the way of it. That is the road of compassion. That's the road of understanding and maturity. And you will stand there and say, what is the most difficult place? Because there is light needed in this family. I want to come over here and do this and that. And then at the same time, you'll say, and I want to continue being a musician. I want to continue with my artistics. I want to continue to think a certain way. All of that is honored, have you noticed? And musicians become musicians. So the creative parts of you, those blessed, beautiful parts, can continue, even in dysfunctional families. This is more complex than you think. There's this idea that the more lifetimes you're in, the more you graduate, and the nicer life you're going to have. So the more lifetimes you live, the more comfortable you'll be lifetime after lifetime. Let me give you a reality check. The more mature you are and the more lifetimes you have under your belt, the more you can do for the planet when it needs you, especially in dysfunctional places like families who don't know anything about that creative, beautiful source, and you do. I'm talking to so many of you who become what we have called the black sheep of the family. You're not welcome home. But let me tell you something. You have had a huge influence. You've made them think about things. You've made perhaps changes in their Akashic record. Did you know that's possible? You are interfacing with everyone here in a multidimensional, grander way than you think. You're planting seeds everywhere you go. What they do next, the lifetimes they live next, will have you in their Akash as a remembered teacher with things they can never forget, things you've told them that they may disagree with, but then they can see who you are. We've told you before, no matter who says what to you, show them kindness. No matter what names you are called, show them understanding and kindness. No matter what they do because they don't agree with you, even perhaps to disowning you or telling you to go away and not come back, I want you to see what they are going through in their dysfunction because they don't have the love that you do. And treat that accordingly because you have the compassion and the love to look at them and say, no matter what you say or what you do, I love you. And that will change them. It always does. It always does. Oh, you have so much influence on who you are today by appointment on this earth to be right here going through this, old soul. And so it is.